44 Singhu border. One of the busiest highways leading to Delhi. It's been blocked for weeks. Tens of thousands of farmers from the northern states of India have marched to the capital city to protest farming reforms. They've covered at least 5 major highways around the city. The police met them with tear gas and water cannons, but they made it through and have now set up camp in and around Delhi.
छह महीने का राशन ले गए हैं। पीछे घर वालों की हल्लाशेरी बहुत है कि हाँ डटे रहो, मुड़का नहीं।
हमने अपना धरना शांतिपूर्वक करना, चाहे हमारे 6 महीने लगो, साल लगो, हमने कोई दिक्कत नहीं है।
ये कल को हमको भेज देते हैं तो हम कल को चले जाएंगे। हम लंबे
This is all happening because Prime Minister Modi's government has passed new farming laws that will change how the agricultural industry has worked for decades. And in a country of 1.4 billion people, where agricultural labor make up half of the labor force, the repercussion of those laws could be devastating.
हमारी यही मांग है कि हम काफी तरह से डर।
मेरे दादाजी वो भी एक किसान है, फार्मर है, मैं एक फार्मर की बेटी हूँ। हमारे फ्यूचर को बहुत एक ब्लीक फ्यूचर है हमारा जो हमारी इनकम है फार्मर्स की वो कम हो जाएगी।
Revolution in 1960s, India, a recently independent country, was struggling to produce enough food for its citizens. A string of droughts made things worse, causing devastating farming. So the government stepped in to modernize farming and increase the food supply. It was called the Green Revolution. The growth in US advisor helps to boost the production of rice and wheat. They together end up overusing of chemical fertilizers, pesticide and irrigation, causing a large plot of land to become infertile. Many crops suffered, some nearly disappeared. But the rice and wheat production soared, and so India went from having a food crisis and to having a food surplus.
It was in the context that India developed a nationwide food marketing system to ensure price. It is complex, but it is different from state to state. Here is the one way to understand. It starts with the farmers bringing their crops to the wholesale market and sell it to the traders with the transparent pricing. Also informed by MCP, a government pricing system for crops like wheat and cotton. The government will buy only a couple of crops, but it still can save us bunching prices. The crops then go to the secondary market where they are stored by the buyers before sell to the future sale. It is not a perfect system. The local traders do end up colliding with each other's auctioneers, actually competitive binding. But for the most part of this system work on a large scale because they are oversigned to bringing farmers to the market standard. They are decided keeping in mind that the farmers are the weakest link and they can be exploited to the numerous way.
Over the years, state reforms have gradually redefined and regulated markets in different ways across India. In Punjab and Haryana, for example, they have become a vital part of the industry, and farmers here have the highest incomes in the country. But in the state of Bihar, markets were eliminated in 2006, and the farmers here are still ranked the poorest in India by income. And all of this is happening while there is a bigger farming crisis. Farming is disappearing. Since the days of the Green Revolution, agriculture has gone from accounting for nearly 50% of the economy to just 15%, meaning millions of farmers already have trouble making ends meet in this shrinking economy. More than half of India's farming households are in debt, and this has contributed to a suicide crisis. In the last 2 years, more than 20,000 farmers have died by suicide. Because of this economic hardship, farmers have been asking for reforms for decades. But this year, instead of providing more protections for this vulnerable community, the central government went in the opposite direction.
So let's take a look at these 3 farming acts that sparked the protest. Each of them deregulates a different part of the system. The first act creates unregulated trade space outside the market. The laws in the spaces would override wholesale market rules, and although a lot of trade takes place outside already, what happens in the market remains a benchmark across the industry. But this act creates 2 parallel markets with very different rules. One with oversight that creates room for big corporate players to come in unregulated. And in this dual market structure, the players in the regulated market are bound to move out and operate in deregulated space. That is where the farmers are going to lose out when these traditional spaces collapse onto themselves. The second act creates a framework for contract framing deals. Any business agreement would be strictly between the farmers and traders with little oversight, giving farmers few options to fight bad deals. As this agreement increases outside of wholesale market, they could further fragment the market and leave small farmers dependent on the terms set by the big corporation, or be cut out of the industry altogether.
ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੇਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਦਾ ਰੇਟ ਤੈਅ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ। ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਇਸ ਰੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਉਣਗੇ, ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੂਰੀ ਦੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਮੰਡੀ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਇਹ ਆਪਦਾ।
मंडी आ जाएगी तो वो हमारा वो सिस्टम खत्म हो जाएगा।
The third act affects a different part of the chain. It eliminated the storage limits previously set up by the government to control prices. Unlimited storage means that anyone with enough money can stock up. The problem is, without oversight, they could also start dictating prices. Altogether, the 3 acts invite big players into a fragmented and deregulated market that could lead to volatile prices for farmers. By deregulating the markets, the government has also put out a message in the same breath, essentially saying that they think farmers don't need any protection anymore from the government. On 3rd June 2020, when the government announced the farming reforms, it didn't take long for the impacts to be felt on the ground. Wholesale markets around the country have already seen fewer crops arrive in the market yards. Madhya Pradesh, more than 40 markets have lost business. Trading has moved out of regulated market spaces, and it's not as though good prices are being fetched by farmers. This is the context in which farmers' anger is to be understood. They didn't get what they wanted, and what was thrust down upon them is very different from what they were asking for.
कि किसानों को इस कानून की ज़रूरत नहीं थी, इस कानून को रद्द किया जाए। और जो हमारी मीटिंगें हुई हमारे नेताओं की उनके साथ, उसमें वो एक बात बोलते हैं, वो छल करते हैं।
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸਿੱਖੀਆਂ ਆ, ਸਾਡੇ ਗਾਂ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਲੜਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਵਾਜਬ ਆ। ਇੱਕ ਚਿੜੀ ਆ, ਉਹਦਾ ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਲਣਾ ਵੀ ਤੋੜਦਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਚਿੜੀ ਵੀ ਚੈਂ ਚੈਂ ਕਰਦੀ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੀ ਆ।